you doing there, Emma? Are you welcoming everyone to Live at Lunchtime? Emma says it is 1 o'clock. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us.
Michelle says hello. Michelle says hello.
Oh, hello, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. So Michelle is not here today. She's not feeling well. We hope you feel better, Michelle.
Feel better soon.
But we are here in the main barn to talk about winter care.
That's right.
At the sanctuary. We've talked previously about how we prepare for the winter months, getting everything we need ready, like our blankets and making sure we have all the hay and food, everything that we need to keep our animals safe here. But there's a lot we do as far as maintenance. Throughout the winter months to take care of our animals here. It's a little bit warmer in here in the main barn, but out there, it's chillier.
It's a little chilly.
Warm and safe.
A little icy. And as some of you might know, right now in the Northeast, we're getting ready to watch a winter storm.
Ooh, yes.
So what we have to do is when those winter storm warnings come out, it's time to hunker down and get ready for what could be really bad weather. So we want to make sure that all the animals have everything that they need and that all the humans here have everything that they need to keep it safe for the animals.
Absolutely. So Melissa, our equine care manager here, is going to take us through some of the things that you would see here at the sanctuary, some of the things our staff does.
So some of the things that our staff will do that we don't actually have right here is they're going to make sure we have sand and salt so that we can sand and salt all the roads so that our staff can safely get around the sanctuary to keep caring for all the animals. If you visited Equine Advocates before, you know just how big the sanctuary is, right? Like a mile and a half. Mile on the outside loop, I think, the outside roads.
There are some kind of designated paths, and then there's some that are just, well, you could walk between the different fence lines. So the pathways, the walkways can be touch and go when there's inclement weather.
That's right. So we want to make sure that all of our staff can get around with hay. They have to get around with their muck buckets and with their water hoses, because all the animals need hay, water, and clean shelters. And we also have to check on all the shelters, make sure that they're not in any state of disrepair. So one of the big things is maintaining our roofs, which is something we just got done here recently.
We got some new roofs. Some of our residents got new roofs on their stalls.
They did. So we want to make sure that they have plenty of cover from any bad weather, whether it's freezing rain or snow or wind. Anything that could happen, especially during these crazy winter storms.
Oh, yeah.
But, so we'll have sand and salt. We'll have our plow truck up and running so that we can plow some roadways and keep down on the shoveling, and we'll all get a shovel so that we can go shovel out all the doors.
Thankfully, it warmed up somewhat over the last week, so there's not really a lot of snow, but it's very muddy because we've been getting that sleet and rain.
Everything mixed in.
It's still pretty gross out right now.
So, but we do want to make sure that the horses have plenty of water, and anyone who has horses at home, you might know wintertime is the time of year when you walk around with a hammer and break open water tubs. But we don't have to do that here at the sanctuary.
This is very good.
These little handy dandy guys. This is a tank de-icer, and it plugs in. All of our shelters here at the sanctuary have access to power. So we plug this in, and this sits inside our water troughs and bobs around in there and keeps the water warm enough that it won't freeze. So on a really cold day, you could stick your hand in the water and actually feel a little warmer than the temperature in the air. So that's how we make sure all of our equines have plenty of clean water to drink.
And I can attest, because there are some buckets that kind of just stray buckets that you've seen out there that don't have these heaters in them, and you can tell how very quickly and very easily it's just a bucket of ice. So these are so important to have. Warm it up a little bit for them.
So similar, so that's a tank heater. So that goes in your big black tubs. They sit about yay high. Some are little. They sit here for our minis. But that's what we have out in our pastures. But our barn horses, they have a different need because they're stuck in their stalls sometimes in this bad weather. So we have a heated water. Also plugs into a wall. But this will keep the water from freezing, because there are some days where if you hang a water bucket up, it's freezing within minutes.
Right.
So this keeps them having nice, warm, fresh water all night long, no matter how cold it gets. And every stall in the main barn has 1 or 2 of these hanging up in it. So we had this is actually a gift from someone from our Christmas.
Our Letters to
campaign.
Santa
Yes.
campaign.
We
We
had
received some of these, so thank you to the Santas who
That's right.
brought us some of these heated buckets.
And this is why we needed them, because we have a lot of residents that could use heated water buckets.
But staying hydrated is not just a summer thing.
That's right. Staying hydrated is even more important in the wintertime sometimes, because I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't really been as thirsty in this really cold weather.
For hot coffee, hot drinks?
Not actually good for hydration.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I don't want to
Still great though, still great. Just not the greatest for hydration. So if we don't want anything but hot tea or coffee, what do you think our equines want?
They want a hot drink.
They want a hot drink.
They don't want to drink cold.
Or they don't want to drink cold, or they just don't feel that thirsty at all. So what I have.
I'm wondering what's going on in here, though. Emma, what are you doing?
Oh, Emma needed to change stalls and come over. She also wants to be part of it. Emma. Emma says, I like these. She says, move the salt block. You want to sniff it? You want me to take the wrapper off? So every single one of our fields outside and in the main barn, outside we have a huge version of these salt blocks. They're very heavy. They're like 40 pounds or so.
Ooh,
they're really hard to lift.
Yeah.
Really hard to lift. But everyone has access to a salt block, which is this white one, and then a mineral block, which is the red one. You want this? It's just salt. You can't eat it.
Yum.
You can't eat the
She's
whole
trying to
thing.
take a chomp.
It's just, is it good? So you.
And so why is it important for them to have these in their stalls and in their pasture areas?
So it's important for them to have access to these because not only do they get trace minerals from the red blocks, but the salt block, as they lick it, can encourage them to drink. It'll make them thirsty.
Oh, perfect. So they get that
So they
water.
get that water into them. So we go and we lick the block. Emma hasn't quite figured it out. Not me, I'm not food. She says, but I'll eat your elbow.
But maybe she'll go take a nice cool drink of water soon.
She
She'll be
might.
like, I need some water.
Although she has a heated bucket, so it might be like a kind of tepid drink of water instead of freezing cold. But also, so aside from these blocks we have electrolytes.
Ooh.
And electrolytes you can actually add directly to their water source or into their grain. So, say I have a horse that I know is a bad drinker in the wintertime. I can add some electrolytes into their food if they'll eat them. Sometimes I will melt them down into a syringe and squirt it into their mouths, and it encourages them to drink, and it keeps their electrolyte balance in check so that they don't have anything to worry about.
So we don't add these to every
Right.
resident's grain.
Exactly,
Or everything. It's
exactly.
just the ones in particular that we've noticed. that
That's
more
correct.
encouragement.
Some that need more encouragement, or some that I just know just don't drink a lot. So we'll make sure that they get those, and it'll encourage them to drink.
Perfect.
Because we want to stay hydrated. A dehydrated horse is a colicky horse. We don't want our horses
Don't want
to
that.
No, not at
Absolutely
all.
not.
She hears the plastic on that, I think.
I was
and
going to say, am I making... Let's see.
She says, Kristen, do you have anything? She says, friends, do you have treats? She said, help, they have no treats. Just send treats. SOS. So we have heated water buckets, we have salt and mineral blocks, we have electrolytes that we can add to their water or their grain and encourage them to drink. And then all the outside equipment is what we make sure is up and functional and ready for the big snow days that we can get up here.
What about hay?
Oh, hay. So hay is another important thing. The more hay you have, the warmer the horses stay. So hay is your furnace maker in a horse.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we have all the extra hay. So we'll hay the horses a little more when it's going to be very cold, before the day of, and throughout the entire time. And all winter long, we increase we'll increase the hay amounts that they get. And then we also want to make sure that our main barn has plenty of hay stocked into it for all the residents that are in here. And Emma says, and I can eat a lot of hay. Huh, Emma?
And so just through observing, especially our longtime residents here, you know, some of our newer residents, you know, you're still kind of observing, seeing how they behave
Right.
through the different elements, but it can be pretty easy to tell who hibernates, so, you know, quote unquote, who hibernates, stays in the stall all winter long, and the ones that love to be outside.
That's
You want to
right.
make sure that they are getting their water because they're still staying active.
Exactly.
And they're staying warm out there because they're like, I like being outside in the cold.
That's right. And that is all of our big draft horses.
Oh, yeah.
They love the cold weather. What are you doing? You're you're milking it for the camera. That's all there is to it.
She absolutely is.
She says, help me.
I'm sure all of you watching don't mind, though.
No. Oh, my goodness. What are you doing? So yes, all of our draft horses get very active in the wintertime. They love the snow days.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love them. What is this Luke doing?
This one here, I always catch her body in the stall, head sticking out, because she wants to know what's going on, but she's like,
Yes.
but I don't want to go out there. It's too cold.
Yes.
So I'll just stick my head out and see what's going on.
A lot of the donkeys are like that.
Yeah.
Jake will quite often be found in his stall. Jake the donkey, Pensacola Pete,
Yeah.
Pedro. Our standard donkeys really enjoy being.
They're like, not for us.
They're like,
We'll see you in the spring.
For me.
We'll see you in the spring.
Yeah. I've seen Jake kick at a snowstorm before because it was blowing into his house.
Well, that's on the snowstorm.
I know.
That's its fault for
If
coming
the
in.
wind wasn't blowing that way,
I'm
I'm
on Jake's side with that.
I agree.
If I could kick at the snowstorm,
I
and
think
it would
we
do
all-
something about it.
I think we
you
all
know,
would. Do we have any questions from anybody out there
Yeah, anyone
about our winter care for the equines? As Emma grunts in my ear. She's like, I have questions. Where are the treats?
little donkey noises. And of course, all of this, you know, we talked about blanketing horses previously. This is all as we continue to observe our equines out there, the ones that we know get the blankets, and seeing when the appropriate times for them to keep them on, to take them off temporarily. Anyone that we realize may need one that didn't get one at the beginning of the season, but since the weather has come in over the last couple of months, who needs one now?
That's right.
We're always out there just checking on all of our residents. You know, we have about 80 of them, so it's a lot.
You have to be nice. There you go. Thank you. Yes, and as our equines here age, they do start to have different needs. So somebody who's been perfect for the weather all this time might all of a sudden have a bad winter for the first time. So we're
yes.
always checking on how everyone is doing in the weather to make sure that they don't need a blanket, or if they are blanketed, maybe they need a heavier one. Be nice. Be nice. Be friends.
So we have a question more so on the staffing side. Our workers here from Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
How long does it take for the staff to do all of the chores, like going around, breaking up any ice that may be in buckets, all the different things as you go around performing your daily duties? Any of these extra things you do in the winter?
It can definitely add some time. So especially if we have a snow day where all the staff have to shovel out all the gates and shovel a path to get to the equipment and the hay to the stalls, it can definitely tack on a few hours.
It takes longer to
It takes
perform
longer to
daily tasks.
perform just regular, something that normally would take an hour might wind up taking 2 or an hour and a half, or however long it might take. It just depends on the weather conditions that they're dealing with and all the other stuff that's going on. Plus, we have to make sure that our outside staff takes the time to go in and warm up so that we don't get any human injuries.
We want
and
to care
illnesses.
for our staff here.
That's right.
So with that, because of all those little extra things that the winter weather, those elements bring in during the year, is the wintertime one of the more trickier times of the year to navigate the maintenance and caring for the equines here at the sanctuary versus like the summertime?
It can be, just because the weather always adds an unknown element to everything. So working even just something as simple as working with a colicky horse might look very, very different in the wintertime than it does in the summer when the weather is nice and it's really not that bad outside, because now we're having to deal with secondary issues like hypothermia for the horse, the animals to set in. Yeah, so they can go just like us. They can get hypothermia and frostbite if it's cold enough. Hi, I have a little parrot on my shoulder.
You would think that because of their winter coats, you know, that even could grow thicker, that wouldn't be a problem with horses.
Most times it's not, but if you have a horse that is very ill, you can run into issues with their body not functioning normally. So, and then the weather adds something. It's the same thing. In the summertime, you can run into them overheating when normally they're a horse that, you know, doesn't mind a really hot day. But when you're really sick, it can really take a toll on you. So that's the big issue that you have to watch out for. All those secondary issues that can go awry
And
in weather like this.
And we've got lots of horses here that are older.
That's
have
right.
special medical needs.
That's
so those
right.
are especially important to think about.
Yep, so those are especially important to think about. And then the other thing to take into consideration is, say tomorrow we're not in that cool band of weather where it's just kind of rain with maybe a little sleet mixed in, and say we got like what Buffalo got a few weeks ago, feet of snow, right? So, feet of snow, I have some horses that they get around just fine outside right now, but add a couple of feet of snow and all of a sudden all that old arthritis and old injuries
picking
can
up.
cause an issue. So they might have to actually get moved into the main barn temporarily until we get some of the snowfall to go away. Rain Man and Rocket Man love to come into the main barn when there's heavy snow, mostly because a foot of snow and it's up to their bellies.
Oh my God, I was going to say, because they're so little. A couple
They're
of feet of
very
snow,
little.
and I don't know if you'd be able to find them.
I'm pretty sure Rocket has disappeared.
Oh goodness, you
But
just see some little trail. It's like, what's happening there?
We do go in and we do plow them out
Yes.
trails all around. They get little trails plowed out through their field. So so it's great. It's funny to watch them navigate their little trails, and then you'll watch Rocket Man just jump off into the snow drifts and try and trudge around.
I'm also now imagining like Pony Hill, like Casey, our smallest equine.
Yes,
here,
he's our tiniest
our
one.
tiniest one, our mini donkey.
Trying to
Casey.
get
I'm like
through the
imagining
snow.
him now if there was that much snow back there.
Casey likes to just stay in the stall and be shoveled.
And there we go. He's
So-
like, I don't touch snow.
So remember how we said it could take an hour extra to do some chores? That would be one of them. Our minis have to have paths dug for them in very deep snow. So I think we had 2 feet of snow one year, and Pony Hill had to get some trails dug around.
Oh wow.
So they had to go down and shovel by hand so that Pony Hill could navigate because they have little tiny legs.
That's a lot to think about. 140 acres here, so
Yes,
it's a lot to keep in mind.
it's a lot to keep track of.
And
But
Dawn wants to know if they get spring fever when warm weather arrives.
they do.
Oh.
Yes, they do. If it's an unseasonably warm morning, I am extra cautious during feeding time because I will have some who think spring has sprung, and that has given them springs in their legs, and they are jumping around like lunatics. Rose especially loves an unseasonably warm day.
Oh no.
She's a wild woman on unseasonably warm days. And then our draft horses get wild when it's very cold out. They turn into very hyper young ladies.
So interesting.
Yes.
This, really shows the different personalities.
Yes, it does. It does. And there is a whole slew of personalities here at the sanctuary.
And then I can't imagine the next day if the temperatures drop again, Rose is like, what?
Rose is not happy. She's like, man, I was ready to shed my whole coat and get ready for some summer sunshine, and then now it's dreary and cold again. So it's definitely, everyone has different needs and different likes and dislikes here at the sanctuary, just like us.
Yes.
Some of us love the cold weather, some of us don't like the cold weather. It just depends on your personal preferences, and the animals are just the same as us.
But whether we like it or not, doesn't
We
stop. But we have to come out here to.
We all wound up in
Exactly.
New York. And we have to deal with it.
And we come out here and do what we can to care for our sweet residents.
That's right. That's right, we do.
And Michelle wants to know about farm equipment. What do we need on hand for the winter as far as gaiters?
Oh, speaking
etc.
of, good timing.
There goes one of our
If you
gators.
saw it through the windows here.
What do we need on hand? Oh, we just, as far as our gators, all the guys we have to make sure that we have functioning gators so that everyone can get around. And gators are perfect, or Kubotas, whichever, the small little farm cars that we drive around are great for this kind of weather because they all have 4-wheel drive and they have off-road tires so that they can get around easily.
Ooh.
If you've ever walked around the sanctuary, you know we have hills up and down, which can be difficult to navigate in just, say, a regular car. So we make sure that the guys have equipment that gets them to and from safely so that they can keep taking care of the animals all day with us.
Yeah, in all kinds of weather
All kinds of weather.
that drops
That's
down,
right.
whether it's muddy or
Yeah.
snowy, not just dry ground.
Exactly. They want to be, we have to be able to get through even on the deep mud days. And mud season is right around the corner. I mean, spring is going to be here in just a few short months. Hi, Alice.
What's she doing? Oh, no, Alice,
Staring.
See what I'm saying about Emma? She just sticks her head out. She's like, all right, what's going on? I'm not going out there, but I want to know what's going on.
I've got some little treats. Little tiny treats.
Oh,
Emma
noticed.
Okay.
Emma's like, did you say treats?
No, be nice.
Oh.
You have to share. You have to share.
Meanwhile,
Oh, so gentle.
Lisa has just been munching away in the corner this whole time, minding her business.
Lisa's happy. She's just getting some peace and quiet somewhat. What are you doing? Don't.
So we've covered a lot of stuff that we do.
Be nice.
Here when it comes to caring for our residents. So again,
That's right.
you know, the important things, heated buckets.
Heated buckets.
You don't want ice. They need to drink their water.
That's right. And we don't want to have to go around and break up big, huge tubs that will just freeze back over. So we have our water tub heaters that bob around in there and keep all our water from freezing over. Plus our heated buckets for inside the barn. Don't mind my little treats up here. Then we have salt blocks, mineral blocks, and electrolytes that we can give to all of our equines. And then, of course, like Alex and Michelle told you about a couple weeks ago, we have to make sure all the horses have the proper clothing on.
Yep.
We keep an eye on everybody to make sure that all of their health needs are met, and then we're always assessing our animals to make sure that they don't have any new requirements that have popped up, because it changes as they age. So we always want to keep an eye on everyone and make sure that they don't need something new this year. And that covers most of it. Plus all of our equipment outside. We make sure it's all ready to go.
Keeps us busy.
Keeps us busy.
All year round.
Because then we'll change it out and we'll have new stuff for the summertime. The ever-changing needs.
Well, if we don't have any more questions, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And we hope you enjoyed this kind of look at, you know, daily life here at the
That's right.
sanctuary. We don't have open days in the wintertime, so we love being able to show everyone that,
What's
hey,
going
things are
on
still
here?
running here.
That's right.
This is all year round, and this is what, you know, we do and what the sanctuary looks like during these off seasons, quote unquote.
That's right. So, and our open days will be starting up again
In the spring.
in the spring, which is coming
It's a
soon.
comeback.
You'll get to see everybody's smiling faces again, and you'll get to come see all of our equines once more.
Yes, they'll be out. That's another thing. If you were to come here in the winter, lots of them are inside. So
They're hiding.
yeah, so
They're hiding from the weather, just like we are hiding from
exactly.
the weather,
That's why we've been here inside the main barn.
where the wind's not blowing.
Exactly.
And it's a little bit warmer. See, we closed the doors so that we could stay warmer too.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.